So welcome to the podcast, guys.
Welcome.
First podcast.
Why are we doing this podcast, Ozzy? Whose idea was this?
Definitely not mine. I think it was one of you two that decided on this.
So we thought that it will be great to share our ideas with people,
Yeah.
and especially after the COVID time, we were detached from them for a long time. So I think podcast will be a good comeback for us to connect back with them. So it will be great for us to connect with you guys.
And I guess for the podcast and what FMA is about, it's not just that we want to just talk about martial arts, but how it works out in the real world, and also in a much deeper level with community, philosophy, mindset, day-to-day living, and how that's incorporated with with what we do and how we want to help people and change people's lives.
Definitely, Ozzy.
So yeah.
And each one, because we have many different students, and each student has a specific type of goal they have to accomplish through FMA. So we as teachers, I want to discuss a little bit about how do we decide what kind of movement and what kind of training is suitable for each individual who walks into FMA. Or I also want us to look at, are we offering a same kind of structure to everyone, or are we somehow naturally creating a separate structure for each and everyone depending on their goal and their needs. तो हम सबके लिए राज सर एक ही तरीके से ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं अलग अलग, इसके बारे में हमें सोचना चाहिए ताकि हमारे क्लाइंट्स को और हमारे स्टूडेंट्स, फैमिली मेम्बर्स, जो फ्रेंड्स हैं, उनको भी समझ आए कि हम क्या ऑफर करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं एफ में. एंड द मेन थिंग विच आई थिंक एवरी वन शुड अंडरस्टैंड इज़ वाई एफ एम एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस, वाई वी आर रनिंग एफ एम एंड व्हाट्स द पर्पस which we want to accomplish and we want others to see and achieve their goals through FMA. So Ozzy, what's your take on that?
Well, my take on it is we want to offer something a little bit different, where we are connecting the mind and body for people. So right now, the main issue in society is that there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety, even though we seem to have more stuff, especially with COVID. It's now become much more difficult for people to cope with all the stresses and anxieties because their normal routine has been totally disrupted. So now they're stuck inside the home, they're not used to that kind of environment, and going forward, this is pretty much going to be the way of life. A lot more companies are going to have people working from home instead of going to work. One of the things that we always find is that when somebody feels that they're overweight or whatever, it's more about them trying to calm their mind. And so they figure, well, if I go to the gym and do weights, or if I go into a weight loss program, once I get that goal, then it's going to fix everything in my life and everything's going to be better again. And unfortunately, when people find that they have achieved that goal, if they hang out that long to achieve that goal, they find that that's not the solution. So they still, after the initial, oh yes, I reached my weight, or I've reached that goal, that euphoria leaves. And
Right.
then they're back into depression, and they're back into the stresses of
Exactly.
life.
I think Ozzy, the point is that everyone is creating a visual representation of themselves and also a auditory representation of themselves when the people are telling them about how you look and also how they feel. So once they have these visual representations and that feel-based representation and the audio-based representation of themselves, I think they tend to not get happy with that, and they are joining a gym or they are doing a certain task or a movement to actually change that self-representation which they have. So then they want to look in a certain way, they want to be feel themselves in a certain way, and they want to hear from others how they look like in a certain way. So that's more, I think, the happiness and the satisfaction is mostly coming from the outside. And then, according to personally what I feel, when the COVID hit, people were at home, so they were spending a lot of time with themselves, and this also helped them a lot to look inside for that happiness and satisfaction. So which we focus and emphasize a lot on within FMA, that while we are teaching you guys the movements, the goal is not to focus on the movement, the goal is to focus inside you, and the goal is to focus on the point which creates the movement from the stillness. In China we call this the Tai Chi, or in India we call the prana, or the grand force, the energy which makes you move from the stillness. So for example, if I am sitting still right now, we call this the Wuji state, the state of no mind, the state of stillness. And what moves me from here, from the state of stillness to the movement, that's we call the grand force or the Tai Chi. So we have to, through meditation, through movement, we have to find that point from where everything in our body starts. Because even big landslides, big earthquakes, any natural disaster, even big hurricanes, they start from a single point, a very small point. So in our body also we have that one point, that if somehow we can find that one point, then we will be able to be still, because that's the point which creates all the movement. So people, when they start meditating, initially they become still, and then from there they can become very fast or very slow depending on the need and the application which they want to do. Some people maybe they will go in competitions. Some people become very slow and get into Tai Chi. So even the speed of the movement and the type of the movement you will pick will kind of reflect your true personality. Because at the end of the day, the kind of movement you do, and that's why in Jiu-Jitsu we have a saying that on the mat you cannot lie. The way your body will act on the mat, the way you will take victory or loss, the way you'll react to people, the way you'll respect them. Sometimes you'll respect them because of the pressure, sometimes you'll give them a fake respect. But slowly, it first of all, it reflects your true personality, and then once you see this, that this is reflecting this personality and you don't like it, you have the self realization, and then you change again, and then you change again. So technically you go from having a big perception of yourself to going to a more universal and cosmos perception of yourself through movement, that you are able to find that one point.
I agree.
Right?
कोई भी हम जो यहाँ करवा रहे हैं मूवमेंट के थ्रू, हम आपकी बॉडी और माइंड को रिलैक्स करना सिखा रहे हैं। जब बॉडी और माइंड जब रिलैक्स होगा तो आप डिसीजन लेने में एकदम परफेक्ट हो जाओगे। अगर बॉडी और माइंड रिलैक्स नहीं होता तो आप डिसीजन नहीं ले पाओगे, क्योंकि हर समय आपके थॉट चलते रहेंगे दिमाग में। उसकी वजह से क्या डिसीजन प्रॉपर नहीं होगा आपका। तो हमारा मूवमेंट के थ्रू यही है गोल कि आपको हम रिलैक्स कर सकें और आगे इसकी वजह से क्या होगा कि आपकी लाइफ स्लोली अच्छी होती रहेगी।
जो राज सर ने बोला, इसमें मैं आप लोगों को एक एग्जांपल लेके समझाना चाहूँगा। फॉर एग्जांपल, आप लोग एग्जाम देने जा रहे हो एंड उस टाइम पे आपको बहुत तेज सुसु आ रहा है या आपको पॉटी आ रही है उस टाइम पे, मतलब यू आर नॉट फिजियोलॉजिकली यू आर नॉट रेडी फॉर दैट एग्जाम। अगर आपको बहुत ज़्यादा प्यास लग रही है, आपको बहुत ज़्यादा भूख लग रही है उस टाइम पे, सो ऑटोमेटिकली your body is not at a relaxed state. So relaxed state doesn't mean that you'll just stretch and meditate and then you'll become relaxed, but it's also about giving your body whatever the minimum is required for the body to become relaxed. Now if you overdo that, for example, if I drink a lot of water, I'll again be not relaxed. If I eat a lot of spicy food, I'll not be relaxed because inside I'm burning. So we physiologically we have to also make our body relax. So eat on time, sleep on time, drink enough amount of water, and so when you go for that competition, when you go for that exam, whenever you go for that meeting in your corporate world, you are physiologically ready. Once you are physiologically ready, then automatically slowly you will start psychologically becoming more ready for that task or that goal whichever you have to accomplish. End up making better decisions. You will end up making better decisions.
जैसे आप सुबह फ्रेश नहीं हो पाते तो आप पूरा दिन अनकंफर्टेबल फील करते रहते हो। सेम वही है, अनकंफर्टेबल है तो आप ना फिजिकली रिलैक्स हो ना मेंटली रिलैक्स हो, तो आप कोई सा भी डिसीजन, कोई भी काम आप सही से कर नहीं पाओगे। चाहे कोई सा ही वर्क ले लो आप, किसी चीज़ में
मतलब चीज़ें अगर बॉडी के अंदर रह गई रात सर, तो आपको अनकंफर्टेबल लगे।
अनकंफर्टेबल।
तभी योगा में मेरे हिसाब से षटकर्म करवाते हैं वो लोग,
हाँ, योगा
ताकि
में षटकर्म
अंदर की
करवाते हैं।
चीज़ें हम साफ कर पाएँ।
सबसे पहला ये होता है षटकर्म करो आप, जिससे कि अंदर की चीज़ें सारी निकल सके बाहर, तभी आप थोड़ा इंटरनली रिलैक्स हो पाओगे। इंटरनली रिलैक्स हो जाओगे तो फिर मेंटली भी रिलैक्स हो जाओगे, और उसके बाद फिर आप आसन वासन पे जाते हो, प्राणायाम आसन पे जाओगे तो आप फिजिकली रिलैक्स होगे। जब आप प्राणायाम करोगे तो मेंटली रिलैक्स हो जाओगे, और जब ध्यान लगाओगे तो फिर
So I think Ozzy can add a little bit more to it. Ozzy, each martial arts which I have done like more than 8 different martial arts system throughout now, and I have studied yoga, qigong, tai chi as well. I believe that they all are trying to hit the same point. They all are trying to make you reach to that level of consciousness where you are here, just in your mind. Your brain is not creating those thoughts. You're not worried about drinking a lot. You're not worried about eating a lot. You're not worried about material desires and all that. Through movement, I think what they are trying to do, you can add a little bit more light on that. Is I think through movement they're trying to first make you ready physically. So what's your thought on that, Arun?
Well, to keep it very simple and to the point, is movement is medicine. And that's really what it's all about. As humans, as any life form, it wants to move. And so what we are bringing back is stripping away all that extra stuff that you hear in society, in gyms and all those other things, and just say move. We're not saying that you need that because of FMA, you have to move the way we want you to move. All we're offering is a tool to say, if you want to move this way, then this is one way you can move. But our encouragement is, if it's tomorrow that you should, if you like just going for walks in the evening, when was the last time you did that? So go for a walk in the evenings. Go for a nature walk. Just move. And that's really what it comes down to. The question I would even ask everybody, and even ask yourselves at home is, and I heard this just the other day, is when was the last time you remember being human? Being a human being. We all remember that we need to get to work, we need to do this. It's always trying to do something else. But when was the last time you really sat down and remembered just being a human being? And I think that's what scares people. Because by being locked away in everything, you are now forced to face that stranger within yourself that you're not used to seeing. And so it can be a very scary thought, because that stranger, that human being that's all inside of us, has its has its doubts, has its fears, but also has its hopes and dreams.
Right.
So with the martial arts that we do, or any martial arts that has always existed over the centuries, the focus has always been is, how do you get back to being human? How do you get back to that inner being? So a lot of times when we do talk about conscious levels and stuff like that, for some people they get it, but for some, maybe the layman or for a little kid, it might kind of go over their head, because it seems very yogoistic sometimes when
Exactly.
certain words are used. But if you just ask yourself, yeah, when was the last time I was just human, or being a human being? Ask yourself that question and see what the answer is that comes back. And so this is what we're trying to help you to become, is to get back in touch with that human and be okay with it.
Yes.
Because that human being is the person that you've been stuffing down and not listening to, while listening to friends, media. So martial arts, any martial arts, any is just a systematic way of moving. So whether it's physical kettlebells or whatever, it's just a systematic way of moving so you can get in touch with that inner self. So a lot of times what you find happening in today's society as far as working out, it's not about truly getting in touch with your inner self, it's just about losing that weight or having that body shape. But the spiritual side, the internal side, the mental side is missing. So
Exactly.
this is what we focus on in FMA, where we're trying to bring the mind, the body, and the soul together. The other beautiful thing is that we, the majority, all the coaches, even us, we've all had our pains and issues in our own personal lives. So when we have students that come in and everything, our discussions are on a very much of a personal level, because they come in with their doubts and fears and so forth, and we can relate to them. So I think we are, if not one of the only academies in all of India where we have like a cafe area, because a lot of times when people burnt off that physical anxiety by coming in and working out, then they come and sit down and are relaxed enough to start having these inner conversations.
Exactly.
And that's where this is really where the workout starts.
So in a way, Ozzy, that they are seeking pleasure through their senses.
Correct.
So
Five
they have to
senses.
look like that, they have to feel like that, they have to hear others talking good about themselves, they want to smell nice, they want to speak good words, like even if it's fake,
Yep.
but they want to speak good. So that's why I think in Buddhism they say speak the truth.
Yes.
Don't speak what is pretty or nice or bad, but speak the truth even if it's very harsh, even if it's bitter. So I
Yeah.
think people are even with us, we are when we are giving these interviews or when we are doing the podcast, doesn't mean that we have reached that level. So we are on the path. We are also learning. We are realizing these things. Some of the things comes from our instructors, because like we might be your teacher or your instructor, we also have our gurus, our teacher, our instructors. Some of them are books, some of them are physical people who we learn from. So it's a never ending story, it's a never ending journey, and we are constantly learning and trying to reach to a level where not only we can like improve ourselves, but then we can shed the knowledge, we can share the knowledge. Because I personally feel that once you have found your true nature, and once you have found the stillness and the peace within you, the only thing left is to first of all stay in that zone, and the second is to help others to reach to that zone. Pretty much everything else becomes materialistic to you, right? Personally I feel that. So Raj sir,
जैसा सर ने कहा कि हमारा बोलना, जो बोलते हो वही करना पड़ेगा, और जो करना पड़ेगा, जो सुनते हो वही करना पड़ेगा, जो आप खाते हो वही करना पड़ेगा। ये नहीं कि डिफरेंट होना चाहिए हर वे में, बोल कुछ रहे हो कर कुछ और रहे हो, तो आप धीरे धीरे पीछे जाओगे आगे जाने की, तो आपकी लाइफ स्लोली स्लोली ख़राब होएगी। आप ये सोच रहे हो कि हमारी लाइफ अच्छी हो जाएगी झूठ बोल के या गंदा खा के, नहीं, वो स्लोली स्लोली ऐड ऑन होके एक टाइम ऐसा आएगा कि कहते हैं पाप का घड़ा भर जाएगा और वो ब्लास्ट हो जाएगा। तो लाइफ स्लोली 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 हमें अच्छी करनी है, तो हमें अच्छा बोलना पड़ेगा, अच्छा करना पड़ेगा, अच्छा सुनना पड़ेगा, अच्छा खाना पड़ेगा, तभी हम एक लेवल पे जा सकते हैं जिसमें हम फिजिकली और मेंटली पीस मिलेगा, फिर हम अंदर कनेक्ट हो पाएंगे, नहीं तो हम अंदर कनेक्ट नहीं हो
मतलब
पाएंगे।
स्पिरिचुअल हम तभी बन सकते हैं
तभी
जब
बन
इसके
सकते
through।
हैं।
बट मैं एक और चीज़ देखा, राज सर ने इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट बोला, मैं ये देखता हूँ कि इवन जैसे मैं ग्रो अप हुआ और जैसे मैं बहुत बच्चों को देखता हूँ ग्रो अप होते हुए, तो कभी कभी हमें ये दिखता है कि पेरेंट्स टीच देयर किड्स टू लाई। नाउ दिस lie can be for survival, but most of the times they are not able to clarify that a lie for a survival is something else, and a lie in the daily living life is something else to face the world. Because for example, a lot of the time parents tell their kids, okay, when you go to this person, don't tell them about our house matters. When you meet this person, don't tell them how much that price we are giving him costs. So in a way we are feeding kids and people to hide the truth. And not only that, I personally feel that we have different personalities at different places. For example, if I ask you guys, each and every one of you, are you the same person at your home, and are you the same person in your office? Are you the same person with your girlfriend or your wife? Are you the same person when you're alone? Because when you're alone, you will be a different person. When you're with someone, you will be a different person. When you're at your workplace, you will be a different person. So end of the day, for example, if you are 10 different people, if you have 10 personalities, who you are? Who is the original one? Who is that one which was the original one when you were born? So what was your true nature? Because we kind of create so many personalities, so many perceptions, so many representations of ourselves. And for example, if I meet Ozzy, I'll act in a certain way. I'll meet him, I'll act in a certain way. I'll speak in a certain way. I'll dress up in a certain way. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to present myself through those five senses and creating this fake image. Or you can say it's true, but it can be fake also. And so Ozzy, the image which Ozzy is looking at right now, the image which Raj is looking at right now, is the image which I want to show to them. Similarly, the image which you guys are looking at right now, this is the image which I want to show it to you guys. For example, if I strip all my clothes right now and I sit like a yogi, now that's the image I want you guys to see, right? Currently, so whatever you are seeing and whatever even you are hearing, this is, we are trying to verbalize our thoughts. It's not a simple thing, and even for people to understand it, even for us to verbalize it in a way that you guys can understand it, all we can do is by using these five senses, we can try our best to show the concept, to speak about the concept, to make you feel the concept. When you come on the mat, we'll do some drills with you, we'll try to do sparring with you, we'll try to do tai chi with you, so you guys can feel what we are talking about, you can see what we are talking about, you guys can listen to what we are talking about, you guys can smell what we are talking about. So all these senses, we are trying to use these senses to show you what we are trying to show. But again, it's not that simple for us even, because we are trying to for us, the path is through martial arts and fitness. For a yogi, the path is through yoga, asanas, pranayama and meditation. For a sportsman, a sports person, a sportswoman, the path is through their sports. Because end of the day, or you can put more light on that, whatever movement or whatever physical activity you do, you end up learning something or the other about yourself, and that's the beginning of the journey.
Um, Everyone's biggest fear is death. And so here, again, what Arun's talking about and Raj is talking about is on the mat, we deal with truth. And the truth is that we all need to be comfortable with failure, because failure is a form of death. And we feel we failed at math, exam, relationships, whatever. But we're told not to face or deal with those issues. So by being in an environment where you are getting comfortable with the failure of not being able to do a technique, not being as good as you thought you were and everything, teaches you to deal and accept with those failures. And that now is translated into your regular day-to-day life. Because that's where the real fight is. That's where the real movement is. Because a lot of times people get confused that movement does not necessarily mean progress. So if you're doing a push-up, it doesn't mean you're progressing anywhere. You're doing a movement. I mean, like, this is a movement, but it doesn't make me progress any further. So whatever we teach here, it's very much battle tested, meaning we have had some experience in the real world of applying what we're showing and showing how it's working in the real world. Because that's where the true test is. That's where the progress is. So by being able to relate that directly, and now you have something of substance, not just physically getting fit, because you will get fit, you will lose weight, you will get in shape, but that's a byproduct to the truer thing of what you need. And what you need is this understanding of how to deal with success, how to deal with failure, and be comfortable with it, and use those failures as life lessons to add and apply to other things that you will get away with, that you will be able to succeed in. And when you can define what success is for yourself. So that's
So I think Ozzy, I think that the people who are in professions where they are facing their biggest fear, as you said, the death, they are slowly reaching to a point where they are able to know their true nature. For example, someone in military who is facing life and death situation every day, someone who is a great athlete, adrenaline rushing, a base jumper, or someone like that. I think that's why people get into these activities which are very adrenaline rushing activities and which are very close to life and death. Now, why I'm saying this is because when I trained with my instructor, Professor Rodrigo Teixeira from Brazil, and it's a beautiful story about that. You guys can refer to the articles which we already have. He found me. So the knowledge and the teacher will find you. If you look for too much, if you're greedy for knowledge, if you're trying to steal the knowledge from here and there, it might not come to you. You have to have that emotion of letting go and then just wait for the right time and the knowledge to come to you. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. That's the saying. So even when I train with Professor Rodrigo, and similarly when I train with my other instructor who is Sifu Harinder Singh Sabarwal from US, he's an Indian based in US right now. All they are doing is trying to kill me. So
it's true.
Frankly, telling you guys.
Yeah.
So Rodrigo, when he spars with me, he puts so much pressure that I'm not able to breathe. On top of that, he's trying to block my vision. On top of that, he's trying to block my nostrils, and there is so much pressure. I'm so much in uncomfort that I'm very close to death. Every time I spar with him, I face death. Not in the biggest way possible, but very close to that. And even in military, people are like, when the bullets are flying, right? Like my other instructor Sifu Singh says, when the bullets will fly around your head, you will find your true nature, because at that time, you cannot think about what will you eat afterwards, whom you are meeting tomorrow, when is your next meeting, what was the stress which is coming from 2 days back. If you do that, you will be dead, because you are not 100% into the present moment. You are not into your survival senses. These senses which we have are meant for our survival. These senses are not there to seek pleasure. You can do that, like, but you have to balance it. The material pleasure and the senses which we have is for truly survival. When someone faces death, their senses go on to the present moment, because for example, when you're fighting a lion, you cannot judge the lion. Oh, the lion looks brown. It's judging. It's, you're using your brain now. You're becoming emotional. You're thinking too much. The moment you think too much, you become emotional. For example, if the lion looks small, but he can still kill you, you'll become overconfident. If the lion is so big, you'll be like, oh, now I'll have to run. So the more you judge, the more you might get into trouble. So that means you're not in the present moment. The only way to survive a situation of life and death is to be in that present moment. And many people who are enlightened or who are close to that level faced their death somehow or the other. For example, Wim Hof man. I was listening to one of his interview, the Iceman, the person who can control his body's temperature, was saying that once he was going for rock climbing and he was about to slip and he was just hanging with 4 fingers like that. So that was his moment of life and death, which gave him the realization that that's what he is. He is not his thought, he is not his emotions, he is not his senses. He is what he was able to realize within that moment of time. Similarly, Buddha. I'm not sure, so if I say something wrong, please forgive. But similarly, Buddha, when he starved himself to death, he didn't die, but he went very close to dying. And anyhow, when you're very close to dying, you will realize, you will become present. Now there are many ways of doing that. So I'm not trying to tell you guys that face your death or face your fear or do things in which you are about to die, because that's one way. Many people are doing that. But then there are better ways also, which doesn't put you under risk. So better ways like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, martial arts. Because through movement, through philosophy, through meditation, we can replicate that in a safer environment. So that's what we do in Jiu-Jitsu. And
Because
then
your body reacts the same way. Right? It's
तो
like
जो डेथ वर्ड है वो किसके सर्वाइवल के साथ जुड़ा हुआ है आपके ओनली. बट लोगों ने आजकल आर्टिफिशियल चीज़ों में उसको जोड़ दिया है. इस चक्कर में वो फंस गए हैं. वो मेंटली और फिजिकली वो दोनों तरह से फंस गए हैं उसमें. तो वो धीरे 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 डेथ की तरफ बढ़ रहा है. जो रियल में जो डेथ है वो नहीं है. और जो अभी जो सोच रहे हैं, जो सोच के चल रहे हैं कि भाई मेरी जो बॉडी है, मेरी बॉडी में मोटा हूँ, मैं मोटा हूँ, मुझे लोग कैसे देख रहे हैं, कैसे ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, वो उस सोच में धीरे धीरे स्लोली स्लोली वो डेथ की तरफ बढ़ रहा है. रियलिटी वो है, लेकिन रियलिटी इसमें देख रहा है वो. मेंटली ऐसे ही.
if someone is blind,
Yes.
how will that person will know that if you're thin or fat? How can that person judge you if someone is blind? Similarly, if someone is blind and someone is deaf also, how will you tell that person how you look like? The only way you're left with is by making that person touch you and feel you. And even when the person will feel and touch you, he will not make an image of you, because he doesn't know what a fat and what a thin person looks like. And he doesn't know what, when people are talking about fat and thin, it's just a visual image. When I say you're fat or you're thin, it's just a visual image which comes into your mind. Fat means big, thin means small, right? Small means small, big means big. It's a visual image. For someone who's blind, they might not be able to create that visual image. So they will not be attracted towards that visual pleasures as such. So that's why in meditation they close the eyes. That be blind, close your eyes, because the more you see, the more pleasure you will seek through your eye sense of seeing, right?
सेम ऐसे ही हो. दिमाग से भी हो गया. हार और जीत का जब कॉन्सेप्ट आया था तो वो मेंटली वीक हो जाए. वो हार और जीत सोच सोच के लूज
ईगो आ गया, फिर वो तो ईगो का इमोशन हो गया
कि मैं यार हार ना जाऊं अपने गेम में. वो हर समय जीत के लिए सोचता रहता है. वो स्लोली स्लोली उसका गेम और डाउन होता चला जाएगा.
तो राज सर, आप ये कहना चाह रहे हो कि गेम पे फोकस मत करो, लाइफ लेसन पे फोकस करो, गोल पे, जर्नी पे फोकस करो. सो वी हैव अ सेइंग एट एफएमए दैट डू इट सीरियसली बट डोंट टेक इट सीरियसली.
यस.
So that's what one of our motto is, and then also you can put more light on that.
At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. The average person sits down, is always sitting down. They're not moving. So to kind of put a more positive spin on death, as we're talking about, it's because in society now we don't move as much. So you're always feeling tired, you're feeling lethargic, you're feeling depressed because you get up in the morning, you sit down for breakfast, or you sit in the couch, or you go to work and you're sitting at work for 8 hours. Then you get up from work, you go and sit for lunch. Then you get up from lunch and you're going home and you're sitting in the car, on your bike. So you're constantly sitting and not moving. Exactly. So it's essentially a form of death because your body's just immobilized, it's not moving. And then that also plays psychologically in your head. So what we're trying to encourage people in this society, because we sit down too much and don't move enough, is to try to create fun ways and different ways for people to move.
Right.
And so this is really what we are about, because once you start moving the external and stimulating the 5 senses, that will start to work on that psychological side, which will in turn start to help with the depression, with the anxiety, and so forth. So it's within the failure of not feeling that you can move where we encourage and want you to move. And so we figure different ways of allowing you to do that.
And even Ozzy, you stated something very beautifully, that those senses. So I just completely skipped what I was about to say. That's fine.
So, but again, for FMA, we try to keep things very simple.
I remember now. Sorry, Ozzy, to cut you off.
Go ahead.
So I was thinking that when was the last time you guys felt your teeth? When was the last time you guys felt your earlobe? When was the last time you guys felt your hair? When was the last time you felt your back of the head? When was the last time you actually felt your spinal cord? All the vertebrae which are there. So pretty much I don't remember, right? So through jiu-jitsu, through physical motions, through asanas, through massage of the skin, even from a sexual point of view, if you see Kama Sutra and all that, I'm not sure, but it's also about feeling the skin and mastering this sense which we have through the physical. So sex is seen as a taboo, but it's not. If you see in Indian culture, we have temples in which they have sexual figures and images and books like that. So it's also, people took it the wrong way. It was a tool to help you to reach to the next level, but then it was misused again because people started seeking pleasure through it. Instead of using it as a tool, they started using it as a drug, doing it again and again and again. Similarly, the idea is to feel who you are, feel your earlobes, feel that we do in Tai Chi, we do in Qigong, we massage ourselves, we feel. There are many ways of reaching here. There are many ways, and that's one of.
So, within the past time we were discussing all of this, and people are like, wow, this is a lot of complicated stuff that you guys are talking about. But the information or symbols are very information dense. So what we've talked about here, how do we create that in movement? Very simple. So for example, one of the techniques that we'll do for our class is tumble, roll over your head. Just tumble. Because just that simple thing, like you see a child tumbling on the ground, it may look silly, it may look has no significance to it, but it will put a lot of context into your head. When you're tumbling head over heels, your mind is moving in a different plane that it's normally used to moving.
The mind is experiencing the other parts of the body.
Correct.
For example, when I do a front roll, my spine goes like this, and I am experiencing that. My mind is experiencing my full body.
Correct. You're fully connected, you're fully committed to that movement. Things become real in that moment. And then after, when you're finished doing the rolling, yes, you feel a little bit of lightheadedness and dizziness, but it's like, wow, I've done something new that I haven't done before, I've never done in a long time. So it's that adrenaline that kicks in, it's the endorphins that kick in, and it's something that you end up laughing. It doesn't feel like work. And that's one of the things, again, that we try to pull away from when somebody says, I have to go to the gym. It's like, I'm going for a workout. So again, the key word of work means, okay, nobody really likes going to work. And I'm going to work and I'm not getting paid, that's even worse.
And then you feel the lack catching in you. You're not able to walk next day.
Exactly. So that's why a lot of times when people start in gyms, they may last for a week, a month, 2 months, because it's painful. The return, there is no positive benefit. There's no natural movement in what they're doing in the gym. They can't translate it into
and I think Ozzy, that Raj, because he is from a bodybuilding background, so Raj can put a lot of light on that.
तो पहले से मैं बॉडी बिल्डिंग बैकग्राउंड से था. पहले मैंने बॉडी बिल्डिंग करी. मैं मिस्टर मायम सीरा, मिस्टर ओपन दिल्ली तो मैंने जब देखा, मैं एक बार की बात है जब मैं और मेरे घर पे वाटर नहीं आ रहा था, वाटर सप्लाई बंद हो रखी थी 3-4 डेज के लिए. तो मैं और मेरी मम्मी गए बाल्टी लेके पानी लेने के लिए. तो मेरी मम्मी तो 2 बाल्टी ली, उसने वो उठा के और ले आई आराम से. और मैं गया, मैंने बाल्टी भी छोटी ले रखी थी और मैंने कम से कम घर आते आते 10 बार रखी होगी. तो उस दिन मेरे को समझ में आया इसका तो बेनिफिट ही नहीं है कुछ. फिर मैंने पढ़ाई चालू करी, फिर मैंने फंक्शनल ट्रेनिंग के बारे में पढ़ा. फिर वहाँ से जब मैंने धीरे धीरे अपने आप को उसमें डाला फंक्शनल ट्रेनिंग में, तो मुझे ये लगा कि मुझे वहाँ से मैं धीरे धीरे मुझे कुछ चीज़ें एक राज्य से दूसरे राज्य में चेंज हो रहा था. मुझे किसी एक राज्य ने पकड़ा हुआ था और उसमें से वो निकल गया.
एक
दूसरा-
पर्सनैलिटी इमेज बना रखी है
एक
आपने।
पर्सनैलिटी इमेज जो बन रखी थी वो धीरे धीरे निकलती चली गई। अब मैं ज़्यादा फ्लेक्सिबल हूँ, ज़्यादा काम कर सकता हूँ। अब मेरे को वर्क करने में कोई से भी वर्क करवा लो।
तो मतलब राज सर, इसमें ये हम सोच सकते हैं कि अगर आप देखने में स्ट्रॉन्ग दिखना चाहोगे तो आप ऑटोमेटिकली कम फ्लेक्सिबल हो जाओगे, बिकॉज फॉर योर माइंड टू क्रिएट योर मसल्स बिगर इट नीड्स स्टिफनेस, and this can be very easily seen. For example, if Raj wants to show his bicep, see, he's telling his mind to contract this muscle and to make it big. So what's end up happening is your mind is getting tuned to keep your body stiff, so you look in a certain way. So that means you are going out of the
आपके
relaxation.
जो मसल्स होते हैं वो छोटे होते चले जाते हैं, नैरो होते चले जाएंगे। बॉडी बिल्डिंग में क्या होता है, मसल नैरो होते चले जाएंगे और वो एक जगह पे, तभी वॉल्यूम आएगा ना, नैरो हुए।
अच्छा, मतलब वो स्क्वीज हो गए, देखने
squeeze
में
हो
लग रहा
गए,
बड़ा हो गया,
हाँ,
बट वो छोटा हो गया।
छोटा हो गया। अब यहाँ पे लॉन्ग लेंथ है इसकी, तो जितना अगर नेचुरल रहोगे उतना ज़्यादा बेटर है। ये नेचुरल नहीं है ना।
So you're constantly tense.
Yeah,
Yes,
constantly,
so
you're
you
training your mind
Mentally
to
tense.
look
yes.
big and to pump up everything, and you might look big. Now I look big, look, so I can stay like that, but this is not natural for me because I'm tensing my mind, I'm putting a lot of load here. And even on my body there's a lot of chi is stuck here. The moment I relax, align my spine, align my breathing, align my senses, I start getting to my natural sense, the sense of present moment.
तो ये बॉडी बिल्डिंग जब वर्क करते हैं, कोई सा काम करे, वो उनको अपने घर में अगर पलंग इधर से उधर करना हो तो उनकी बहुत ही मुश्किल होता है, मतलब ना के बराबर हो जाएगा। और वो धीरे धीरे बॉडी बिल्डिंग वाला जो वो है ना, जब उसमें हो आप उस जोन में, तो आप धीरे धीरे लेजी होते जा रहे हो। एक तो ज़्यादा खाओगे, हर समय आपको भूख लगी रहेगी, और दूसरा लेजी होते जाओगे। और जैसे ही आप उस जोन से निकले तो आप देखोगे कि ज़्यादा वर्कलोड आप ले सकते हो, कम खाओगे और अपने आप को फ्री से महसूस करोगे।
तो तभी रात सर बॉडी बिल्डर में 8 घंटा सोना कंपलसरी है।
Yes.
बट योगा में अगर आप देखो हायर लेवल स्टिलनेस वाली एक्सरसाइजेज में, चीगोंग में, सो इट्स नॉट मैंडेटरी फॉर यू टू स्लीप 8 आवर्स, बिकॉज
क्योंकि वो ना मेंटली रिलैक्स है ना फिजिकली रिलैक्स है। तो रिलैक्स होने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा हमें? स्लीपिंग। आप अगर मेंटली और फिजिकली रिलैक्स हो तो आपको कम से कम स्लीपिंग की जरूरत है। जो जितना ज़्यादा मेंटली और फिजिकली क्या बोलते हैं रिलैक्स नहीं है, वो उतना ज़्यादा उसको स्लीपिंग की जरूरत पड़ेगी।
इसका एक बहुत बढ़िया एग्जांपल मुझे अभी दिखा। आप लोगों को पीछे फिशेस दिख रही होंगी टैंक में, आप रात को देखो फिशेस को, जब ह्यूमंस सो रहे होते हैं, सो दे द ओनली थिंग विच इज मूविंग इज देयर स्टमक एंड ब्रीदिंग एंड सम इंटरनल फंक्शंस विच आर हैपनिंग व्हाइल दे आर स्लीपिंग। Similarly, when you see the fishes, so fishes sleep, but you will not see them lying down in the aquarium like that with eyes closed. They are sleeping, but they are still moving very slowly. So, like Raj is saying, when fishes, even when they sleep, they are moving really slow.
Yes.
Their definition of sleeping is not to close their eyes and be dead, because then they will not survive, because they are not in a safe environment. So, if I ask you guys, if you guys are in jungle, for example, middle of the jungle, there are many lions, there are many animals who can hunt you. Will you sleep? Do you think you guys can sleep? You will not be able to sleep until unless you find a cave, until unless you find a place of safety, a sense of security. So that's when you can relax. So in the old days, we used to hunt. That's why we used to be strong and big, because we used to hunt, we used to survive. And then when we used to sit in the caves, or when we used to sit in a safe environment, we used to look at the universe, and then that's when we used to be relaxed. So what Raj is trying to say is, if I can illustrate that in another way, is that the more mentally, physically, spiritually you are relaxed, the less load you have on your body. And in Qigong, we have a saying that if given choice between being a rabbit or a turtle, choose to be the turtle, because the turtle breathes slowly, the turtle moves slowly, the turtle is very slow. Yes, the turtle will not be able to reach to his goal quickly, but remember, the turtle will live for 300 years, 400 years, while the rabbit might reach to his goal quickly, but the rabbit will maybe end up 10 years, 15 years maximum. So you guys want to be a turtle, or you guys want to be a rabbit? If you guys want to achieve something very fast, you will do a lot of effort, your heart will go fast, your breathing will go fast, and you might be able to achieve that, but then you are shortening your lifespan. Similarly, if you are very relaxed, if you are moving very slow towards your goal, your lifespan is bigger, your heart is not beating faster, your breathing is slow, your metabolism, your organs, everything is nice and relaxed. So that means you can preserve your life, which is a a very important concept in yoga and qigong, longevity, and which in FMA is one of our very important pillar, that even if you are not able to reach towards your goal, we will make sure that you don't die early, because the more time you have on the planet, hopefully the more knowledge and the more sense you will get to reach to that level. So that's why in yoga and qigong everything is done to have that longevity, to keep this body for as long as you want to without sufferings and pains. For example, you are very relaxed, you are meditating, suddenly you have jaundice, suddenly you have bronchitis, suddenly you have, for example, COVID, you're coughing now, suddenly you have stomach pain. Can you be relaxed? When was the last time you guys, when you guys were sick, really sick, did you feel good at that moment? Were you relaxed when you were sick, or you hated every second of that? Do you guys want to become sick and hate your life, or you guys want to become very healthy? So for us, longevity is that. Definition of fitness for us is not to look in a certain way, to let people talk about yourself in a certain way. Oh, this guy has six packs, this guy is strong. No, no, no. We don't want to feel in a certain way. We want to feel natural. We want to feel human, like what you were saying. We want to feel functional, that our heart, our organs are functioning to their optimum state. In Qigong, we call that the organs are not on fire and neither the organs are on water, like yin yang. Neither the organs are yang, neither the organs are yin. They are at their natural state. Because if the organ becomes yin, there will be certain illnesses which will come. If the organs becomes yang, there will be certain illnesses which will come. In yoga, we call this kapha, vata, pitta. So similar concepts, five elements, the concept of five elements in yoga and qigong. So the knowledge which we are trying to share through FMA, using FMA as a platform, we are not attached to FMA because we are attached to the mission, we are attached to the goal, we are attached to the philosophy. FMA is just a physical platform which we are trying to create, three of us, and even not three of us, all the instructors we have, all the students which come, because it becomes like a small universe for us. Whoever comes in this universe is like a seed. When that seed is planted into the right soil, the seed will cherish and the seed will become a plant, the plant will become a tree, that tree will give the fruits, and then the tree will cherish for a long time. And even better than being a turtle, you can be a tree, because looks like tree is not moving, but if you guys sit very still, you will see that the tree moves. The tree is talking, the tree is moving, the tree is moving under the ground, by the roots are expanding, the tree is moving outside the ground, the tree is growing like that, the tree is expanding in this direction also. So it looks like that the tree is not moving, but the tree is moving, and that's why the trees are 2000 years, 3000 years, 4000 year old trees. So the less you move, the stillness will enhance your life. And if you move too much, if you do too much, then you will be burned, you'll burn yourself out. So that's why, but if you don't move, then you will be unhealthy also. So there is a certain balance which we call in Tai Chi, in Yin Yang, in yoga also. There is a certain balance between motion and stillness.
I guess the best way to describe it is efficiency of movement.
Yes.
How do you move efficiently?
Exactly.
And that's really what it comes down
Exactly. How do you move in a way that your lungs are not suffering, your kidneys are not suffering? For example, if I go and work out and then I eat a lot of supplements, yes, I look big, but my kidneys are purifying those artificial supplements and proteins and they're suffering. Sooner or later, my liver and kidneys will start developing problems. And now when they start developing problems, I forget about my physical body because internally I have a lot of issues going on. And then we do what? We skip gym, we go to a doctor, then we first heal our kidneys and liver, and then if you're intelligent, you will not go back to that lifestyle again. If you're not, you'll go back to same lifestyle, same thing will happen to you again, same circle will continue. So the idea is to,
जैसे सर ने बताया कि मूवमेंट को कैसे बैलेंस कर सकते हैं, ना ज़्यादा जाना है ना कम जाना है, तो उसको बैलेंस कैसे करोगे आप? कैसे पता लगेगा कि मेरे को ज़्यादा नहीं और कम क्या है मेरे लिए? तो आपका डेली लाइफ में जो यूज़ करने मूवमेंट, अब मुझे खाना बनाना है तो आप मम्मी को बोल देते हो खाना बनाओ, उसी तरीके से पानी पीना है तो आप क्या करते हो? अपनी मेड को बोलते हो पानी ला के दे दो। तो ये मूवमेंट है, छोटी छोटी मूवमेंट है, ये अपने काम जब खुद करने लग जाओगे, आप किसी पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं, ये बैलेंस है उस मूवमेंट का। तो फिर आप कहोगे कि भाई फिर एफएम में क्या कर रहा है, फिर एफएम में आने की तो ज़रूरत नहीं है। एफएम में उन मूवमेंट को करेक्ट करेगा कि आप उसको सही से कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे,
और ये फिलॉसफी को इंस्टिल करेगा। जैसे राज सर ने बोला मेड को पानी लाने के लिए बोला, तो मूवमेंट तो किया आपने, बट सिर्फ जीभ का, है ना, आपने बोला movement is still, there is a movement when I am giving an order, bring water for me. I am moving my tongue, maybe I am moving my hands a little bit and my body just a little bit like this. If you stand up and then get that glass of water and then you drink it, again you are
And
doing
feel.
more movement now. So even by doing this movement, you will be able to become more healthy. You will be able to experience your body. So it doesn't mean that which movement. Don't try to get caught up with those jab crosses, those takedowns and all that. That's just another movement. If you like it, do it with us.
तो यूज करो उसमें 5 सेंसेस को। आपने बोला, आपने उसको देखा, आपने उसको पिया, आपने उसको फील किया, तभी आपको ये है मूवमेंट पूरी की पूरी, तब बना मूवमेंट।
तो मतलब आप प्रेजेंट मूवमेंट में आ गए।
तब प्रेजेंट मूवमेंट।
अगर मैं ये पानी पी रहा हूँ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई एम ड्रिंकिंग दिस ग्लास ऑफ वाटर, आई विल होल्ड इट, बट व्हेन आई एम होल्डिंग इट, एम आई फीलिंग द होल्ड, am I feeling the skin here, or am I thinking about some of my office? Then when I lift it, am I feeling the muscles which I am using to lift it, or I am thinking about something else, or I am feeling here my leg is itching, so I am feeling here, I am not feeling this now. When I bring the water close to my mouth and the where the glass touches my lip, am I feeling this, or I am thinking about something else or feeling something else? Maybe I am having a back pain, so I am drinking water but my focus is not here. Then when I drink the water, do I feel the water inside my mouth? Do I feel the water going inside me? Do I feel it? Am I relaxed enough to feel all of these things? Or am I distracted? Am I lost? I'm thinking about something else. Not just emotionally. Because my emotions can make me distracted. My thoughts can make me distracted. And similarly, my physical issues, pain somewhere, itching somewhere, feeling very cold, will also make me distracted from the natural sense which we have, the present moment or the zone which we call. So meditation and living the moment. So that's why in FMA we have a tagline, living in the moment. So living in the moment also, MOMENT, and living in the movement also, MOVEMENT. Both are combined. If you start living in the moment, then you will be in the moment. And if you are in the moment, then you're living in the moment. So this tagline revolves around each other. Also, you can spread more light on that.
No, I agree. At the end of the day, the kind of people that we look at is not the athletes. It's the average person living an average life. So a lot of times people get very intimidated about going to a gym or having a personal trainer or whatever because they feel and I'm sure we've all heard it, the person says, we talk to a friend or somebody like, oh, I need to get in shape first before I go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? Because they again, they know
especially in martial arts, I have to be strong, I have to be fit to be able to do martial arts, I have to be young, I have to be short, tall, thin, fat, like many strong.
Because they see the competition. They see they go in an environment is eyeing each other up. Who's bigger than who's better than who, and all that kind of stuff. We're here, we focus more on the person being just a regular human being. So here we are very much a learning environment. Even the instructors, even though the new students come in all the time, and they're constantly helping each other. So whatever the student who's been around for a while knows, they'll come in and they'll help out the newer student, and they'll help them grow. So it's almost a pay it forward scenario, which starts you in that kind of a giving mode, that kind of being human mode, that connecting with another person on an emotional level, on a personal level, on a deeper level, other than what I hear a lot these days is when people are having conversations, it's very superficial. How was your day? What job do you do? Instead of saying, well, how are you? And so when you're interacting with people on the mat and so forth, rolling with them, you're putting your trust in them, they're putting their trust in you, but you're also getting that communication, more meaningful communication, understanding who the person is. We may do a particular move where the person's not very comfortable in it. They may feel unsure about something. Well, that's where we sit and help them. That will naturally pass on now, because when they go home now, they've now experienced this movement of helping, being supported, and also supporting someone else.
Exactly.
So it's more than just doing a couple moves and a couple lunges or push-ups or sit-ups or whatever, which doesn't have any substance to it. And so when we build this connection in, that yes, I can take what I did on the mat and I interact with Raj in a certain way. Now I go home and now I start interacting with my family. We have many scenarios where we have kids coming in, parents coming in. I had one day where a family came in, and their son was very hyperactive at home, and the parents were very concerned. And in society today, you don't have the room to move around for kids and everything. So if you think it's bad for adults sitting in one place all the time, it's even harder for kids because they're usually just in the home or at school. There's no big park for them to run around with and all that kind of stuff. And so the parent comes in, and many, not just this one, but even parents before, same story or similar story comes where they said, my child needs to be disciplined. And so they come in and they're very upset because they don't know how to discipline the child, they don't know how to control the child. And I always say, well, the child just needs to move. Child comes in, they start jumping all over the gym, they burn off some of that energy. And in that, we also teach them the concept of the mind-body connection, how to interact with the parents and so forth. And so, after about a week or two, the parents are coming back to us and saying, our kid is much different at home. And that's just for children. We have women the exact same way. They have certain anxieties that they're dealing with, certain stresses that they're dealing with. So they come in, they work with us, and then after a week, 2 weeks, a month, the feedback is, this is what I'm working on. What do you guys think? So it's very much an ongoing process. And so for our membership, the people that join with us, our goal is for a long-term relationship. So on average, our members are here with us for 4 years, 5 years, not because they need to be here, not because we're trying to convince them to be here, but because they find so much benefit in what we're doing here, what we're teaching them and what they're also teaching us with their feedback.
Exactly.
Because for us, it's like, okay, does this work or doesn't it work? So for us, it's all about the fire test. So we'll try it out here. If our members say, yeah, this is garbage, it doesn't work, okay, well, let's put that aside. If they say, well, this works, okay, well, how do we make pass this information on to you and you and you and you and you? And so this is the way we...
I believe at the end of the day, we all are garbage. Because because we all,
that was garbage.
Yeah, technically, be like water, my friend. There was a saying by Bruce Lee, right? So water is also used to flush toilets. Water can go in the dirtiest places. Then water is also on the purest of the places. So being water means that you have to experience both the ends. So we are garbage also. This is skin. This is like what? This is dust, right? And one day you will be a part of the earth. You will be garbage only, right? No one will be able to see who you are. No one will be able to listen to you because this is gone. This machine which you have to communicate and experience the nature, experience the uniform is gone. So the rule of FMA which we follow is, first of all, accept everyone for whatever they are and who they are. Only when we can accept them who they are, then they will be able to accept themselves, who they are within themselves. For example, if you come to FMA, let's say, and we tell you, oh, you look fat. Now we are not accepting you as you are. We are telling you are fat and this is not accepted here. You have to look thin to join FMA. But we are not doing that. Whoever you are, however you are, any gender, any size, any age, regardless, we don't see that because seeing is deceiving, right? We accept you for who you are. So then you can accept yourself for what you are. And once you start doing that, then you are able to find your true self because you have accepted yourself. You don't want to look like this now. You don't want to feel like this, right? You want to feel human. You want to feel natural. And you want to experience your true self through movement, through meditation, through yoga, through qigong. We have many ways, guys. We have more than 40 methods, 40 ways to make you reach from point A to point B and then from B to C. We have structures, we have programs. But again, we are just the mediums. We are not the carriers of, we are carriers of this knowledge. We are not this knowledge. We have not created this. This is the universal knowledge. We are just mediums, we are just carriers. I am using my energy to spread this knowledge through my vocals, through audible, right? I am trying to do some gestures. When you come here, we'll make you do some gestures. So all we are trying to do is the knowledge we have. We are being the channel in between this knowledge and you. We are being this channel in between this knowledge and the cause of your self-ignorance. You are ignoring this due to some reasons. We will help you to find that cause. Find the cause of your self-ignorance, like Bruce Lee said. then you will have the self-realization. Once you have the self-realization, you will be able to understand who you are. So we have many ways, many examples. We can do this through yoga. We can do this through, now when I say we, doesn't mean we or we three of us or FMA. We, all the humans who have experienced it. We, universally, we can have many different ways. In our scripts, they did textures, they did writings. They were trying to teach you this through writings, through images, through gods, through shapes, right? Through audios, through mantras, through colors, through many different things, through movement, right? So we are just a medium. So you can use us to get the knowledge. That's it.
I have a question.
Yes, Laksh.
So, when somebody comes to FMA, what they should expect is that we are not giving them a template to feel some way, a certain way, to fit a physical appearance of some way or mental state of a fixed template.
Yes.
But we help them to discover it
Exactly.
by themselves
To explore.
Exactly.
and accept it.
We will give you a container. It's like this. We will give you a box, we'll give you a container, we'll give you a template, definitely. Because without the template, you are what you are right now. So you never come to FMA then. We have to give you a box, we have to give you a template. But we will start with a small box. And then we'll start expanding it to a way that one day you will not need the box. You will go outside the box. So that's what spiritualism is. That you start very small, but then you start expanding yourself to a level of the cosmos, and now you're able to become one with the nature.
So it is a path more than a template.
We will show, yes, we will show you we will not show you. We will walk with you in this journey. Because showing is sometimes not enough.
The best way I can put it this way is that members or people that come to us, they are already in their own box. We don't have to put them in a box. They're inside their box and they don't know how to get out of the box. So what we try to help them is not to tell them how to get out of the box, but to go into the box with them and say, hey, there's a path out, there's
Exactly.
this option out, there's that option out of the box, because only you can get yourself out of your own box.
Out of, like Bruce Lee said, empty your mind, empty your cup of tea before you can experience my cup of tea. So if you are this and you are filled this much, until unless you empty it and come outside and goes into this glass, which is a little bit more full now, you will experience this. Now until unless you break this glass and come out of this, you will go here. Now you will experience something else. It's a different color here. All these templates, all these boxes are just the visually, like they are created in our mind, in our brain. They are not true, right? So, but once you start realizing that I am not this, so know the cause of your own limitation, right? For example, if I realize I am not my sense of smell. I'm not. See, for example, Ozzy, I have something very, just an example. For you to break the box, what do you have to do? What's the first thing? For you to break a box, outside the box, you have to first feel the box, right? Once you feel the box, then you can break it. So we will make you feel those small boxes. And one by one, when you're feeling that boxes, you'll break out of it. Now that's what we call the enlightenment, right? You break out of one box, you break out of the other box, to a point where your box is so big like universe, and then one day you'll break out of it as well. So, but the journey is, it's a journey. We will walk with you. It's a path. It will start from one still point. Like we were telling, even the tornado, even the biggest of the disasters starts from one single point, one dot. Where is that one dot in your body? Find it. And then what can you do with that one dot? You can do anything in your life. You can go anywhere.
So what do you think, Roger?
तो जैसे है कि जैसे ये कप है, वैसे ही तुम्हारी एक बॉडी है. बॉडी जो है नॉलेज का खजाना है. तो चाहे यहाँ से मिली हो, चाहे वहाँ से मिली हो, ठीक है ना. अब उसमें आपको ये देखना है कि उसमें कौन सी नॉलेज रखना चाहते हो और कौन सी निकालना चाहते हो. तो हमारा जो काम है, हमें ये है कि उसको अच्छी नॉलेज डालनी है उसमें और गंदी नॉलेज वहाँ से निकालनी. ये हमारा वर्क है.
अब गंदी नॉलेज अच्छी नॉलेज में डिफरेंशिएट करना काफ़ी मुश्किल है
मुश्किल है
हमारे लिए भी, आपके लिए भी. तो कोई भी नॉलेज गंदी नहीं होती,
और कोई भी
बट विजडम, उस नॉलेज को आपने समझा कैसे, वो हम कोशिश करेंगे आपको सिखाने की। लेकिन नॉलेज वही है, मैं भी इस कप को कप की तरह देख रहा हूँ, आप भी इसको कप की तरह देख रहे हो, बट मेरा नजरिया क्या है, मेरी नॉलेज, मेरा परसेप्शन क्या है, मेरा विजडम क्या है, मैं वो दिखाऊंगा आपको, मेरा जरिया।
एक्चुअली बचपन से जो हमारे को दिखाया गया सोसाइटी या मदर फादर के हिसाब से हमने नॉलेज को उस तरीके से कैरी किया है, लेकिन एक टाइम जब आपका ऐसा आ जाएगा जब आप खुद फील करके उस नॉलेज को ले सको, तो वही नॉलेज है।
जब मास उतर जाएगा,
अब उसे हम सही कहें या गलत कहें, हम कुछ कह नहीं सकते उसे, क्योंकि अलग अलग एक्सपीरियंस पे अलग अलग चीज़ें होंगी आपके साथ। एक चीज़ सिचुएशन वाइज सही हो जाएगी और एक चीज़ सिचुएशन वाइज गलत हो जाएगी।
एग्जैक्टली। एंड राज सर ने जैसे कहा, मैं एक और एग्जांपल इसका देता हूँ। ये 2 ग्लास हैं, आप लोग इसमें से बताओ कौन सा वाला ग्लास ज़्यादा भरा हुआ है और कौन सा वाला ग्लास खाली है। आप बताओ कौन सा वाला ग्लास ज़्यादा भरा हुआ है, कौन सा वाला कम भरा हुआ है।
विजुअल्स के हिसाब से तो
ये वाला कम भरा हुआ है, ये वाला ज़्यादा। एक क्वेश्चन आया जो अच्छा है, किस चीज़ से, मैंने हवा पूछा था, तो हवा से ये ज़्यादा भरा हुआ है, पानी से ये ज़्यादा भरा हुआ है। बट अब बताओ अगर ये हट जाए,
मैंने वही बोला विजुअल से वो,
अगर ये हट जाए तो अब कौन सा ग्लास ज़्यादा भरा हुआ है। अब तो एक ही ग्लास है ना, वो ज़्यादा भरा है ना वो कम, बस ग्लास है और वो भरा हुआ
और
है।
इसी में एक चीज़, अब ये वाला गिलास बताओ, इसमें से आगे वाला कौन सा और पीछे वाला कौन सा है,
बताओ।
अगर ना वही आगे से विजुअल्स के ऊपर आ गए, जैसे मैं बैठा हूं मुझे लगेगा यार ये मेरे पास है तो ये आगे है,
तो ये आपके आगे है पर ये मेरे से दूर है।
उधर से रास्ता के आगे है वो।
Yes.
तो लाइफ में आप जब भी किसी चीज़ को ऑब्जर्व करोगे, आप उसमें यिन यांग क्रिएट कर दोगे। यिन यांग, यस नो, ट्रू फॉल्स, गुड बैड, वार्म कोल्ड,
हर सही का एक सही है और एक गलत है, और हर गलत का एक सही और एक गलत है।
So I guess one thing I would say is when somebody comes here, people know what they need to do. Everybody knows, oh yeah, I know I need to eat this food in order to do this. I know everybody, the knowledge is already there. Okay, so we're not teaching any kind of new knowledge that people, but the question is, why are you not doing what it is that you know? And that's based on your belief system, whatever that belief system is. So with us here, what we do is to try to help you challenge your belief systems and apply the knowledge that's already inside of you. So for me, what wisdom is the application of knowledge. So we all know stuff, but how do we apply it? And that is something you really don't see out in the world, where they teach you how to apply knowledge. So for example, you go to school, you've gone to university, you get your BA, and then you go into the working world. You have a lot of knowledge, but the application of it is almost useless.
and also the where to apply.
Yes.
Because
Right.
sometimes you apply knowledge on the wrong end, on the wrong at the wrong place. So where to apply the knowledge,
And that's wisdom.
when to apply the
Yeah.
knowledge.
When you should or you shouldn't. You're right.
Yes.
So by having someone,
Is this Ozzy what we talk? Is what is functional movement is?
Correct.
That functional movement doesn't mean this physical movement, but functional movement also means, yes, it means that, but it also means moving in the right direction, eating the right food. It's also movement. When the food goes in, it's a movement.
Yep.
So how will you define function? Each of us, how will you define?
फंक्शनल वो जो आपके लिए फंक्शनल हो।
Alright, we have a few questions. Can
Sure.
we go with them?
sure.
I am physically very weak. Is martial arts good for me? Once I got stuck in a bad situation. I was so scared. So that's why I want to learn martial arts to hit someone.
So very good. When you are stuck at a spot, when you feel really scared, that means you broke that box. You broke the first box because you felt scared, and that told you that you should learn some martial arts. So it's a good thing. So being scared is a good thing. If you use that emotion of being scared to move yourself in the right direction. So as long as you use your emotions in the right direction and the emotions doesn't use you, you are all on the good path. Now definitely by learning martial arts, the sense of fear will reduce through martial arts. So if you are scared and you have that insight within yourself that learning martial arts will help me, do it. Anywhere, do it. Doesn't have to be here. But if your body and your mind is telling you that martial art is something which I should learn, then go for it. If it's something else, go for it. Ozzy, what do you want to?
I would say I didn't hear the last part properly. So the person says, "I want to learn martial arts so I can hit the person."
Yeah.
Okay. So
I skipped that one, so
yeah, what I heard
whatever I
that-
say applies
but that's-
and this.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
That's fine. Like,
No, I just wanted to make sure I heard it correctly. But essentially, what you're doing then is you're becoming your enemy. That's really what you're doing. So in order to defeat your enemy, or the person you see as your enemy, is now you're going to become that enemy, just a bigger and badder version of it. Now, does that make you a better human being? You just become a bigger bully than the bully that was bullying you. And so here at FMA, this is one of the things that we teach, is that you do not, in order to defeat your enemy, you do not have to become them. And so that's where a lot of hitting martial arts comes into play. Whereas, well, if you hit me, as long as I hit you back even harder, then I win. And many times where with jiu-jitsu, the style of street jiu-jitsu that we teach here, it's about no matter how abusive or assaulting that somebody can be at me, I don't have to be like that. I can still be compassionate. I can still be human and still control that situation while keeping myself safe and also keeping the other person safe. Because as much as it may look nice to hit the other person, we're not living 200 years ago. So the after effect, which is a lot of times you don't see when you look at martial arts or self-defense videos, it's about, yeah, you hit this person, you break their arm, you break their leg or whatever. That's nice. But the person that you just hit and broke their arm, that is the judge's son, or that's the police commissioner's daughter, or something to that effect, or some relative. So now you had every right to defend yourself and hit the person, but now you're dealing with a whole bunch of legal issues and everything else, because this is the society that we're living in now. So this is how you now need to figure out how to apply this wisdom. The more likely case that you'll see coming across, even if this person had this one incident of being attacked by somebody, if I were to ask this particular person, have they been in a situation where they've been in a fight with their friend, their uncle, their relative, somebody they know, they've been in more of those kind of conflicts, are those the people you'd be hitting back? So as much as you may learn a striking art, if you're in a situation where you get in a fight with your cousin, your brother, whatever, do you really want to hit them with that degree of severity? So the art that we teach, as far as punching, hitting, kicking, we do teach that here. But it's so you can understand the mechanics of what a punch is.
what the other person can do to you.
Correct. Once you understand that, now you know how to defend against it and deal with that situation without having to punch.
So you need to have control even when you're being on the offense.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's what we were talking about. Now, don't let your emotions control you. You control your emotions. Anger is a very good emotion. If you want, go for hunting. If you're killing someone, anger is a good emotion. But if the anger uses you, now it's a bad emotion.
Like a fire.
Like a fire, it will burn you, right? It will burn your
Control.
liver. Anger stays in the liver, right? So whoever is angry, they will have liver issues. It's an entire study about that, about the elements, about the organs.
So I have a question, sir, here. So how FMA can give this the same thing to a child and to an adult? So how both of them can train here at the same time and same thing?
Yeah, because they do not have the physical, I would say, conditioning of a functional adult, an elder or a small
Exactly.
kid.
Maybe we don't believe that, because what we believe in is that maybe the movement will be a little different. For example, if I have a 4-year-old kid in my class and simultaneously we have a 80-year-old person training with us, so I should teach the class which the 80-year person should be able to do. Why? Because the kid can do all the motions which an 80-year-old person will be able to do. So we as instructors, we even to all the instructor team, we train them that, because so far you guys have realized that specific movements are not that important. It doesn't have to be like exactly like that, okay? But it's all about moving. So as long as the kid moved in the way as the kid moved, and simultaneously as the adult moved in a way, however he or she can move, they all moved in a way, and anywhere whoever is in between that age, they all moved. Now, best case scenario, the elderly should be able to move like a kid, and the kid should be able to move like elderly. So that can be the best or the worst case scenario, however you guys want to see it. So we don't see it as a two different dimensions, but we see it as a one. We see it as a movement. regardless of what your limitation is. Or do you want to add anything to it?
I mean, it's people look at the three of us, and we come from very different backgrounds, right? And our views on things may seem to be opposite, but the way I love to describe how we are and how life is, it's like the five blind men describing an elephant. This is exactly it, right? And so we're all describing the exact same thing, just from a slightly different perspective. For a child, their perspective is that they have the physical mobility, but they don't have the mental maturity. So here we teach them, we help them understand the mental maturity. For an adult, they have the mental maturity, but they don't have the physical ability. So the bigger danger to a child is that mental understanding of a situation. The danger for an adult, a senior person, 60s, whatever, is that fall on the ground that will break their hip, that will put them in the bed, that will get pneumonia and die within two months.
Exactly.
That's the real danger.
Yeah.
So how do they deal with that level of flexibility? These are the real threats. So we're just describing the elephant from a different point of view, but it's the exact same thing that's being described. So when, like you said, when people come in here, we cater to a general demographic. So we know what children, the general need for children would be, the general need for women would be, the general need for older adults would be. Now, if a certain adult or person comes in and they're in their 30s, a female as an example, we know generally what her needs are going to be. But then we will sit and have a discussion to understand what their specific need is. So what makes us very unique is not about us trying to sell what it is we do. It's for us to understand who the individual is that we're sitting in front of and cater to what their specific needs are to help them out of that box. Because that's the only way that we will truly be able to help and make a difference in their life.
Exactly. Beautifully said, Arun. Beautifully said.
So I have one more question regarding this. As you know, FMA means Functional Movement Academy. So how you guys brief us about and or give us a little bit introduction about what functional movement is all about?
We all three will have different elephants explanations. So good question.
Isn't it better to take it on the mats with this question?
Definitely we can go on the mats.
So let's go there.
Let's go there.
Sir?